Hey guys, this is Juan, and this is the channel about how to immigrate to Canada under the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program. And in today's video, we are going to implement our new feature that is the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program, or RNIP. So, and in today's video, we're going to see what are updates and what are the main requirements in order to qualify for the RNIP. In order to be eligible under this program, you must meet all the requirements, such as get a recommendation from a designated community economic development organization, then have a qualifying work experience or have graduated from a publicly funded post-secondary institution in the recommended community, having a qualifying job offer, meet or exceed the minimum language requirements, then meet or exceed educational requirements, prove you have enough money to support your transition into the community, and intend to live in the community. Let's move on into details, and then let's move to the first part, which is the recommendation from a designated community. So you must get a recommendation from one of the communities participating in the pilot. They decide who to recommend based on your intent to live in the community, your job offer in the community, and the economic needs of the community, your work experience and skill set, your ties to the community. When communities are ready to begin recruiting and recommending candidates, more information will be available. Then the experience. So you need 1 year of continuous work experience, at least 1,560 hours in the past 3 years. To calculate your hours of work experience, there is a way to count the hours in a part-time and full-time jobs. The hours must be in one occupation, but they can be with different employers. The hours must be over a period of at least 12 months. These working hours can be inside or outside Canada. If you work in Canada, you must have been a temporary resident with authorization to work in Canada. Do not count hours you were not paid for, such as volunteering or unpaid internships. Do not count. Do not count hours when you were self-employed. Your work experience must include a substantial number of the main duties and all the essential duties listed in your national occupation classification, and the activities listed in the lead statement of your national occupational classification. Alright, so the next thing that you need to know is the job offer. You must have a genuine job offer to work in one of the participating communities. The job you're offered must meet all of these requirements, such as the job must be a full-time. This means you work at least 30 paid hours per week. The job must be non-seasonal. In general, this means you have consistent and regularly scheduled paid employment throughout the year. Your employment is permanent. This means that there is no set end date. The wage must meet or exceed the job bank minimum wage for your job offer national occupational classification, and your experience must demonstrate that you can perform the duties of the job offered. Then your skill level. Your job offer must be at the same skill level, one level above or one level below the national occupational classification that applies to your work experience. However, if your experience is in NOC skill level D, then the job you're being offered must be in the same occupation. So let's see on the example. As you can see here, start from the top, NOC 0, whatever you can call it, job offer, right? So your work experience can be in the NOC O or A, which is the lower one, right? So the NOC A job offer work experience in NOC O, A, or B. So it works one level above or one level below. And the last one, the NOC D, on the bottom, as you can see, work experience in the same occupation. This is the only NOC that needs experience in the same level. Alright, so for the information for the students, international students, You're exempt from the work experience criteria above if you're an international student who graduated with a credential from a over 2 year long post-secondary program and you were studying as a full-time student for the full duration of the over 2 years. You received the credential within 18 months before your application for permanent residence and were in the community for at least 16 months of the last 24 months spent studying to obtain your credential. Or you have a master's degree or higher and you were studying as a full-time student for the duration of your degree, obtained your degree within 18 months before your application, and you were in the community for the length of your studies. You cannot apply as international student if your credentials are from a program in which you were studying English or French made up more than half of the program, distance learning made up more than half of the program, and you were on a scholarship or fellowship was awarded that requires you to return to your home country to apply what you learned. Alright, so let's move on to the language requirements. You must meet the minimum language requirements based on the NOC category that applies to the job offer in the community. This can either be the Canadian Language Benchmark (CLB) or the Niveau de compétence linguistique canadien, which is NCLC. The minimum language requirements for each NOC category are, so for the NOC O or 0 and A, it has to be CLB 6 and higher. For NOC-B, it's CLB 5 or higher, and NOC-C and D, it has to be CLB 4. So as you can see here, the Canadian Language Benchmark is higher than for the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program, but it's still low overall. So the educational requirements. You must have a Canadian high school diploma or educational credential assessment report from a designated organization or professional body showing that you completed a foreign credential that's equal to Canadian secondary school, high school. The ECA report must be less than 5 years old on the date of your application, and the original ECA report must have been issued on or after the date the organization was designated. All right, and then the last but not the least one, and one of the most important one, are funds, settlement funds. Unless you are already working legally in Canada, when you apply, you must prove you have enough money to support yourself and any family members while you get settled in your community. You must prove you have enough money to support any family members you may have, even if they're not coming to Canada with you. You must show that you have enough money to support yourself and your family after you get to Canada, unless you are already working in Canada under a valid work permit. You cannot borrow this money from another person. You must be able to use this money to pay the cost of living for your family, even if they're not coming with you. Your proof can be one or more of the following. First, bank account statements. Second is the documents that show real property or other investments such as stocks, bonds, treasury bills, etc. And documents that guarantee payment of a set amount of money payable to you, such as bankers, draft checks, traveler's checks, or money orders. The amount of money you need to support your family depends on the size of your family. So here on the table, as you can see, if you're traveling alone, again, the amount that is required to bring with you is higher than for the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program again, but still you will be able to earn this amount of money, and hopefully you have enough savings or other documents that show real property in order to prove that you are qualifying financially. So one person need 8,722 Canadian dollars. A family of two, which is husband and wife, it's under 11,000 Canadian dollars, and so on. So you can see, you can pause this video and then you will see how much money you will need for every person for the family of 3, 4, 5, and so on. All right, so there was new updates for the rural and northern immigration pilot program. So all this new information is available right now, and I would like to remind you that our team is working for the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program. We have our contacts list and database, but we are serving as a separate service which calls a full package. The full package includes all the services that we provide in the My Resume package, plus the Rural Northern Immigration Pilot Program, which is starting very soon. So stay updated and tuned because there are many employers that are ready to hire from outside of the country. So we will make a separate video about the full package again, and the price for the full package it is going to be 400 US dollars. So I believe this is it for today, and we will make a next video about the full package. And if you like this video, press the like button below, share with your friends, relatives, colleagues, and then start applying for the Rural Northern Immigration Pilot Program as well as Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program. There was Huang, and there was a channel about how to immigrate to Canada, and I'll see you in the next video.